Hey, it is a grown woman's perspective with Rochelle. And in case you haven't been to my channel before, I am Rochelle, and I'm here to review all of the things that hit your screen, as long as they interest me, right? I'm not just watching everything, but the things that interest me, the things I've been watching for some years, I am going to review them. Now, if you have things that you would like for me to review, all you have to do is go down in the comments and let me know, and I'll definitely check it out, see if it's something that I can stand to watch, and we can go ahead and get that reviewed. Now, before we get started in today's video, I want to remind you to go ahead, hit the thumbs up, like this video, and then you're going to also want to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to this channel because we are going to have some fun over here. I mean, there's no better place to hear a grown woman's perspective than right here on this channel. Hit that notification bell button so that you can be notified every single time I upload a new video. And then, as always, we're going to meet down in those comments. So now that that is out of the way, let's dig in to episode 1 of Basketball Wives. Yes, Basketball Wives is finally back. Now, if you enjoy this show as much as I have since the inception, then you were right there in front of your TV too. You either DVR'd it like I did, or you were right there live and in person to check it out with all the commercials and everything. I don't like to do the commercials, so I always set my DVR for these shows. But the girls are back. I'm excited, right? Because we have not seen these girls since 2019. So here we are at the beginning of 2021, and they're just hitting our screens again. And here's what we saw. They actually attempted to come back for us in 2020. But because of COVID, we've seen this happen on many shows, many movies, many productions in general. Everything shut down. Things were totally different. But I really liked what they did and how they went back to March of 2020, right as COVID was hitting the scene, but before cities and states began to lock down, right? So we see them in beginning to mid-March doing their recording so that they could come back to our TVs. And it seemed to be, you could see the disaster, like brewing, right? And now we understand exactly what happened and the fact that they were going to come back and that they didn't have a chance to do so. So tonight's episode started with just a quick overview and introduction of the girls, kind of showed us what they are into, what they've been doing. We got a chance to see Evelyn and Feby get together. Evelyn said she had gotten baptized from 2019 season up until that March 2020 portion. You know, they talk in depth about that colorism issue that Evelyn and OG had gone through the last time we were on screen. And I think that Shaunie was a part of that as well. Evelyn got really emotional because she felt like it really shone a bad light on her. She was saying that she had gotten death threats in her inbox, and, people were threatening to come to her house and kill her and kill her kids. And I can imagine that that could be really, really hard, whether you think that, she's racist or, there's some colorism and things that are there. Social media can be really, really brutal. And when you have children that you love and you're getting threats toward them, hey, that's a tough thing no matter who you are, right? Even if you are, a hardcore, you're fighting, you're mouthy, whatever, that can still be a tough thing for anybody. But we found out that Evelyn filed a defamation suit on OG. That's going to be something that we'll get to see unfold. Some of these things, of course, if you pay attention on social media, you've already gotten to see them in the past. I think that's the good and the bad of social media. Sometimes we get to see things happen before they actually hit the show. Some people like that. Some people don't. Feby, she actually has a new boyfriend. She's dating Damian Barry, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, which happens to be my team. If you're into football, I don't know. I'm from Baltimore, so I like the Ravens. Yeah. Then we saw Shaunie. And we see that, Sharif is getting his Kobe tattoo. And that kind of takes you back, right? Because we just actually, I don't want to say celebrated, but Kobe's death anniversary, Kobe and Gigi, their anniversary of their death just recently passed. And so now here we are a year later, and we're kind of getting to relive that all over again because we know how close Shaq and Kobe were. Therefore, Shaq's family was with Kobe and Gigi. And so, we see Sharif getting his Kobe tattoo and two of her kids. Now, Sharif transferred over to LSU, and now her daughter is going to be going to LSU. And she wants to move to Houston. She's like, look, I have a child in Atlanta. I have two kids going to the West Coast, and I want to be close to everybody. So how can I get there? I need to be in Houston to kind of be in the middle. That's understandable. Look, I have three sons, okay? I have, they were in different places because of college and things of that nature. And I was always looking to be closer to my kids. So I have a son that is in Tampa. He goes to a college in Tampa, and we moved to Georgia so that we could be a little bit closer. So I get it, Miss Shaunie. That's what we do for our babies. We got a chance to see Jackie and OG. They met. They talked about some of the things that are going on. We heard that OG and her still boyfriend, Kwami, are having a house built. Now, I know that she wants to get married really, really bad. I think in this day and age, if you decide to get married, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But apparently she really, really wants to get married. But I don't know if he's ready. Hopefully this season will show us kind of where he is in that thought process, if he's going to give in and give her what she wants or not. I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think he's going to give in and give her what she wants? Or do you think that he's just going to keep skating through because he doesn't think that she'll leave him? What are your thoughts? I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. We will definitely talk about it. Now, one thing that I noticed is OG seems to be talking a lot more like a valley girl. That's my nice way of saying it. But for the grown folks that's watching this, grown like me, we know what valley girl talk is, right? From back in the day. So she seems to be talking more like a valley girl. Did anyone else hear this, notice this? I'm not really sure what happened in the past year and a half, 2 years, and why she's now speaking like a valley girl as a woman from Nigeria. I don't know. It just didn't add up to me. But, that was just something that I noticed. She's standing on her opinion that Evelyn is a racist. Jackie was like, it didn't come off that way to me. And it seemed like OG was a little irritated. It kind of reminded me of the situation that we have on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and how Latisha feels like Kimmi doesn't have her back because she doesn't agree with everything that she's saying. So it seemed like OG was a little upset. But she handled it like a boss. OG, she's gonna handle her, so she'll be all right. And Jackie, always the peacemaker. Always. It's so funny because as much mess as Jackie gets in, I will say that she always wants peace between the girls. And she wants to reconcile with Malaysia based on their fight. But she also wants to be able to bring Shaunie and OG together. And I think that's admirable, right? Because, listen, although we love the arguments and the little bickering and the gossiping and everything that reality TV brings us, I think that none of us want to see the cast. If you're all a cast together, there has to be a sisterhood. There has to be some camaraderie. There has to be some things that can bring you all together where you're not fighting. So we don't always want to see fighting. Now, that is me from a grown woman's perspective. Somebody else may not have that perspective, but I don't always want to see fighting. I want to see these girls coming together, having fun, breaking bread, laughing, and all of that. And then the occasional argument or pettiness comes in and it blows up, but then we come back together. That, I think, is a real grown woman's type of reality show. These are all grown women. These are all women in their 30s and 40s. So come on, ladies, let's start to do some different things. And I know it's not all of them, it's production and everything, but I just want to see some different stuff this year. Do you guys agree? Listen, We've just gone through a pandemic. It's time to like do some stuff that is a little bit different. Now, before we go on and talk about the second half of this show, I want to remind you once again to like this video. Listen, you have to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified about what I'm putting out from a grown woman's perspective. And then we're always going to chop it up in the comments. So make sure you comment on this video. I'm going to respond to every single comment that I get. I appreciate you guys. This is the start of a brand new relationship and I'm excited. So let's dig back in. So now you see Evelyn and Feby in Malaysia. They get together because they want to have a cooking lesson for Feby. She obviously doesn't know how to cook. She's been in, relationships and now she's back in a relationship. Now, ladies, grown women need to know how to cook. Even if you have 3 to 5 dishes that you know how to do really well, as a grown woman, you have to know how to cook. It's a non-negotiable. I definitely cook. I throw down. I bake from scratch, all those types of things. But look, this is not about me. I'm saying to you, if you are not a good cook and you're trying to get or keep a man, please learn how to cook some dishes. Yes, we eat out a lot. This is a brand new age, right? We're not talking about Housewives and any of that type of thing where you have to be home and cooking all of the time. But please have some dishes in your tool belt that you can cook, you can entertain, you can have some company over. If his family wants to come over, you can say, I made this. All right, ladies. So look, this is what I want you to do. In the comments, what is your specialty? Tell me what your specialty is. I'll share mine. If you share one with me, I'll share one of mine with you. All right. So I want to hear from you in the comments. Now, the girls, of course, they want to hear about Phoebe's new boyfriend. And she's, saying how she's not sure about their relationship, how he wants to get married, but he cheated on her in the past. And they're trying to give her advice. Now, here's another question for you. You got to go in the comments for this one. Would you take advice from your girlfriends if they have had failed relationships? Like, if they haven't been able to hold on to a relationship long term, would you take advice from them? I mean, I really want to hear from you. I know from my perspective, I'm very selective on who I take advice from because I've been married for 26 years, happily married for 26 years to the same man. And, so it's a rare person that I would take advice from. However, I do think that even people with failed relationships can give good advice. And so I want to know your take on that. Would you and do you take advice from women about your relationship that have not had success in their relationships? I want to know. Tell me in the comments. So next we see Shaunie meet with Jackie. She wants to really break the news to her about, her move to Houston because she thinks that Jackie is going to take it the hardest. But actually Jackie took it really, really well. She tells her that Shaquille has been living with Shaq and she just, like I said, wants to be close to everybody because she's not used to being away from her children. And we find out that Shaunie is actually open to having a grown woman conversation with OG. I love it because she said, even if we don't agree, at least we can put the cards on the table and, come to some kind of understanding. I'm not going to try to change her mind as to whether she felt like she was being targeted because of her skin color. But I just want us to be able to come together and come to some understanding. That's grown woman-ish right there. Like, that is grown woman-ish, and I love it. Throughout the show, we're hearing little sprinkles about the coronavirus, right? It's really wild to watch the show and know the time period, but you're not seeing anybody with masks. You're not seeing anybody socially distanced. And that has become such the norm that when we look at this show and they're not doing that and it's right at the brink, I'm like, oh man, none of us were doing any of those things back when this thing first kicked off. What were you doing? Go in the comments. We're going to be talking a lot on this video, guys. Do you remember where you were and what you were doing? What was going on in your life when the coronavirus first hit hard, when things first started shutting down? Like, what was going on in your life? What did it affect for you? Were you cool with it, or did it like stop you in your tracks on some important things that you had going on? I definitely want to know. I can remember, what was going on for me, and I'll be happy to share those things with you. Like I said about the meals, right? You share one with me, I'll share one with you. So Evelyn is now attempting on her side to bring Malaysia and Jackie together. If you guys remember last season, they had a huge falling out at the skating rink over some things that Jackie said about Malaysia. It almost turned to blows. And so it'll be great to see those two ladies come back together. Like I said, these fights should only be going on for a certain amount of time, and they have to come back together. So we're looking forward to that. I honestly hope that this is a season of redemption and forgiveness, and just these ladies like making it work. Let's see if they have the ability to do that when they go off to this mansion. It seems like it's going to be fiery, but sometimes things have to get fiery in order for things to get resolved. And that's where your grownness comes in. Can these grown women go to this mansion and get it together and help one another to mediate some of the issues that are going on between individuals? It remains to be seen. So we see Feby and Damien talking, and Feby realizes that proper communication could have potentially allowed them to stay together when they were together back in the day, 9 years ago. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching this, communication is grown folk stuff. Grown woman stuff is grown man stuff. You have to have proper communication. Please communicate. And when you communicate clearly. Sometimes people think it's not important. Sometimes people think it's not their job to make someone understand them. But if you want relationships to last, and I'm not just talking about male-female relationships, friendships, family ships, communication is absolutely key. Now, in this final scene, Evelyn actually has Malaysia meet her at a restaurant. And what she did was she snuck and had Jackie also meet them there. Now, even though she had already had a conversation with Malaysia and she found out that she would be open to a conversation to see if they could fix the relationship, she did not go about this right. She did not go about this like a grown woman. Actually, this was some straight shenanigans that she pulled where Jackie just showed up unbeknownst to Malaysia. And Malaysia wasn't having it. She wasn't prepared to talk. She wasn't in a space to talk. She wasn't warned about the fact that Jackie was coming. Now, I think Jackie knew that Malaysia was going to be there. And so it wasn't right. It was like a setup. And Malaysia kindly got her stuff and she said, and I'm out. And she left. And some people could say, well, she should have stayed, blah, blah, blah. No, she shouldn't have stayed because this has to be set up properly. It has to be presented properly in order for someone to be open to it. And so I want to encourage you, don't ever do that to someone that you care about. Don't set a person up. That's not what grown folks do. It's not what grown folks do. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe to this channel. Yes, I'm saying it again. I want you to be notified every time I put out new content. And then let's chop it up in these comments, guys. I asked you a lot of questions, and I definitely want to hear your feedback. I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you a little bit. Can't wait to do this again with you to review episode number 2 of Basketball Wives. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see you there. Take care.